Yeah, you. We're not into I mean, those that know the full truth. I know maybe one particle of the truth. One particle of the truth. That they're not into a competition in who's right and who's wrong. Krishna is making the situation so whatever somebody's seeing, it's right. And he's making a situation of the same thing, that whatever the other person is seeing, he's right also. I mean, NASA isn't that dumb. It's 40% Hindu. Yeah, I mean, probably that's what was some years back. It's probably even more than 40% Hindu. Yeah, so not dumb. NASA's not dumb. So that for them to come up with a Nobel Prize winning thing that this blue light, the ultraviolet light, that bounces off all these particles because the sun is 12 degrees below the horizon. They didn't do that from stupidity. What happens is, like, take the Purusha Sukta. Okay. The Purusha Sukta is trying to give you the reality, It's like the first song, it's the first glorification. And how is it there's a glorification of the creation? In other words, there was an observer. So those saints that were fully realized, they're observing. And in the Purusha Sukta confirmed, you can see it, they're even glorified. Yeah, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the chapter Purusha Sukta of confirmed, it's like, it's telling you, yes, it's real. This prayer is real. So they confirm it. And then you give the authors and the observers, so they're glorifying the most elevated people. They were observing it. Not only they were observing it, but there had to be people to do the sacrificial act. So, how is it that we can both be right? How is it? So we have to give it a break. In the Purusha Sukta confirmed, now remember, my Sanskrit's lacking a lot. It's the fifth verse. Tadmat virad ajayato virajo adi purushaha shaddato chiarichiyatam paschat bhumi ato puruha. Now that word, aditya, that means he has made himself separate. Now, what does that mean? In other words, it's going to appear like he's made himself separate from this, and the illusion begins. So, the illusion, what it does, it uses two realities and puts them on each other. Two realities of opposite understanding in so many ways, because there's so many creations of the illusion. So they're already telling you, and this is the fifth verse of 16, they're already telling you, at this point, he put himself aside. Just before that, they gave the indication that the Purusha, he left. When the annihilation came, he beat feet and left. And then now he's creating again. But as he's creating again, he has pulled himself aside. In other words, we're gonna be seeing something, and he's gonna be standing in the background. You're not gonna see him. They can, because they're realized souls. So what NASA is saying is a reality. But it's an imposed reality on them through the combination of two realities. If that some way makes sense. In other words, they're not dumb. Because they can do all these experiments and everything, but what they're doing is they're meddling in something that they're not able to understand. Yeah, they're meddling in something they're not able to understand. So just to give another part of this verse, see? Tatma Pidaya Jaita Viraja Kurusha Sajja Toricha Tapasya Atapura Paschat Bhumi. So now we relate Bhumi to we're living on Bhumi. She's Mother Earth. But the qualities of Bhumi, it can change. Like they are relating Bhumi to that which he created. Right? They're relating Bhumi to that which he created. In other words, something you can stand on and live on and everything like that. So the first Bhumi was the universe. Or you can put it, say, the universes, where Mahavishnu lays in the causal ocean. So it's the universes. But then there's another Bhumi, that the second expansion, now he's sort of like pulling himself away. Now it's expansion. So when this expansion happens, there's a layer of illusion. Because we are trying to go into that place where he didn't expand. Expansion is pointing out another type of illusion. So first, Krishna, then Mahavishnu, and then all of a sudden Garbhodakshai Vishnu. But in each one of these, it's called the golden egg. Even Garbhodakshai Vishnu is Hiranyagarbha. He's born in the egg. So that doesn't mean like perfectly round, not perfectly round. Because also, you could say I'm born in the bag of the uterus, maybe it was somewhat round. You could say that the cow, the little calf, when she comes out, she's in a bag. So we are going through the same thing, being born, changing bodies, right? Mahavishnu changed bodies. He went to Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and then he got a little interested and got into Kishore Dakshai Vishnu in every atom. So that is called Bhumi. So of course, you could say that the egg that Mahavishnu was in was perfectly round. You can say, yes, the egg that Garbhodakshai Vishnu was in is perfectly round. So Bhumi doesn't denote a global form. No, it does not denote a global form. Yeah, it can denote even all the worlds, or it can denote even the elements. Yeah, and so we can say yes, we'll allow you to think that something is round, but don't let that disturb us in the understanding that I'm directly receiving his eyesight. Surya Narayan is directly seeing me. Surya Narayan is directly waiting for my response. Okay? So in this way, there's two things, but don't let the one thing destroy the other thing. That's the problem. We're right and you're wrong. No, you are right. You are right in your conception. You are right. But you have played with the illusion. So you have imposed illusion on others. And your illusion is like saying someone can't do something. Oh, I can't understand it. I can't prove it. And this is how I prove it. So that doesn't exist. So what does that do? That minimizes the power of the Lord. No, I'm giving full power. Your illusion cannot use anything that is not real. Real. The illusion uses reality. Your conception is unreal. There is nothing except reality. There are nothing but living entities making up this whole mass. Living entities are making up this whole mass. They're eternal. They're just under different conditions. So they are a reality. But our conception, our vision, and our putting things together, that is not real. It's like so simply stated. The Shastras can just like take a whole concept that has to be explained in so many details and everything. They take it and they wrap it up easily into about 3 words. A little sentence, actually. Taking the rope to be a snake. There it is. That's it. The rope exists. The snake exists. So if the rope exists, they're right. And if the snake exists, I'm right. So you gotta, I'm just saying this because I don't want to put myself in the middle of so many people. They aren't just debating, they're really like strongly hitting each other on this flat and this round concept. No, we know that even that person that's debating is an eternal spirit soul. And we're not attacking him, we're just trying to point out at this point and in this cause, and your understanding is wrong. Just take it as that, and your understanding in another situation is right, totally right. Don't. Not for us. There doesn't have to be so much explanation on this because we have a full picture. They have a conceptual picture of a part, like the wise men, the so-called wise men, the blind wise men touching the elephant, and each one comes up with a different conception, but the conceptions that they have some basis, some reality to it, some reality, not total reality, but some reality. So Scripture makes everything like kindergarten. Hey, you guys, just wait until you can see. Don't try to see without being educated or having the adhikari, the qualification to see. Don't try to see. But we realize that the reality is seeing us. That's the main point. even in the midst of complete stupidity, making the wrong decisions one after the other, and getting deeper and deeper in the mud. It's like quicksand. If you start moving around in quicksand, you go down. If you don't move around, you just naturally come up. That's how quicksand acts. If you move around trying to get out on your own, you start going down. I say that because when I was a kid, I think first grader, I went out to the ocean to catch lobsters with my friends. So you watch these little antennas of the lobster, little antennas will stick up. This is when the tide's down. Yeah, so, we run over there to grab the lobster. Well, I had slipped in between 3 boulders. I can't remember exactly. My uncle had to tell me. But I slipped into the sand. And I was like trying to get out. But now I'm telling you, on a beach, I don't know how my uncle was able to see me. But on a beach, and we are way out on the tide, where nobody goes. People don't try to swim out there. There's too many boulders. You'll hit the boulders. So I fell in, and my uncle came and pulled me out, and of course took me to my mother, and they both beat me. But I know that if you fool around with quicksand, you start going down. So that's what they're doing. They're standing on quicksand, and they're not taking the right course. The right course, somebody outside has to take you out. You cannot get out on your own. Or you just lay there very tranquil. You can lay there and wait until the tide comes in, and then the tide will even pick you up. But that's what we do. We rely on a source that is seeing the full picture, not our little minute picture. And what even gets more confusing is these scientists, they do reductionism or separatism. They try to separate everything to understand it. No, you have to take a holistic, you have to take the whole energy to understand it. The whole energy turns to Mahavishnu, a separated, turns into Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, a separated, Kishore Vishnu are separated, seemingly are separated. So if you do a separation, or what we call reductionism, reducing everything, I'm going to take everything apart, and it's actually it's not a nice thing, like cutting everything apart and separating it and because everything is connected. So they're going down the wrong way. Instead of trying to connect everything, they're going down the reduction of everything. Tearing apart. It's tearing apart. It's not a nice thing to tear apart things. I'm going to tear apart and do this to it and that to it, and I'll put it under this experiment and that experiment and this. No. This isn't how the knowledge came to the saints and sages, and they got quite a bit. No. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. But I did put out some videos. Yeah, sometimes I get in the description, I'll put out some links. Always look for them. And like other persons are saying, I can't exist too much longer putting out videos because YouTube separated me. And I'm not connected with them. They have I'm here, but I'm not in the full flow of things. So the only way that the full flow can come is if you push a subscribe. I don't know why somebody would subscribe to some videos that I put out, but it just helps in the producing them, being able to produce them. So push the subscribe button. I'm not going to declare that you're a follower just because you push a subscribe button. I don't think I'd be so foolish. But, just push the subscribe button and the like button. And then they'll take a different viewpoint on me and reduce the payment that I have to do. Yeah. I've already heard this on many videos because people are putting out a lot of videos and they're asking the people to please at least, give me a break. You watch the video. I'm not asking you for payment, but if you just push the subscribe, at least I get a break in the network. Okay, so this verse, most of these verses that are in this book, it's like incredible. Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur, and there's also, my name is Shonaka. There's a Rishi by the name of Shonaka. He makes a comment on this. About 4 or 5 commentaries in one little book. So nicely put together. Very nicely put together. Yeah. And, in this one, there's 3 different ways to view it. Why is there 3 different ways to view it? Because there's 3 ways to look at the reality. Most of these verses are pretty right to the point. But in this verse, where it says that he separated himself. In other words, he hid himself. In this one, 3 different verses, translations of the verse. The Virat, the egg-shaped universal form, came into being from him. The Adi Purusha, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, was born after the Virat, and remains separate. There it is. This separatism. He's there, he's telling you where he is and everything, but he's still separate. Subsequently, he created all the worlds in front. And then the next translation. The Virat, here they were starting with the Adipurusha. And then okay, let's go. Okay, the Virat, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, came into being from him, from Mahavishnu. Okay? And now, here, the Adipurusha is used as Brahma. So, the Adipurusha, born from the Virat, pervaded. So, Brahma pervades this whole thing. After, after the origination of all the elements, he created the bodies. So, and then the last one, let's go to the last one. The Virat is in a fetus form. Came into being from him. And then the Adipurusha, the universal form, born from the Virat, predominated. After the origin of all the worlds, he created the bodies. So, the doer, Brahma is a living entity. The doer is actually him. But you can say that the doer is Brahma. So, the same thing is there. How he separated himself, how the illusion was created. But the illusion is a reality. So, our friends that are making such an endeavor, our people that we're going to see in the spiritual world, same people that you may criticize, or I may criticize, and think them against us, those same people, they are seeing a reality, and it's a reality. And how they're seeing the reality, they're progressively trying to give it to us. But the same thing, I can look at the same thing, and there's a reality for me too. So give me a break. I give you a break, you give me a break. Your reality may be covered by your disconnection from the Supreme. That's how the reality becomes a different reality, which is even deeper into the quicksand. The separating separating ourselves, not that he separates us. We separate ourselves from him, and we go down into the quicksand more. So we just observe them like that. That they're pretty well paid too. I think overpaid, especially when it comes to tax money and you're paying these people. Yeah. So, and if you would possibly see their personal life, more than likely they don't really have a deep connection with God. They don't have a deep connection with God because He's not given them the intelligence to see how it's real, but you're putting it in the wrong place. Okay. Yeah. We are feeling for everybody. Yeah. We're feeling for everybody at all times. We are trying not, because I'm still fearing, I'm trying not to fear everybody. Yeah, we are trying our best not to fear everybody. Yeah, there's no reason to fear everybody. Not even if a bomb is falling, there's no reason to fear. You got to take initiatives to protect yourself, but it's no fear. Yeah. Fear will just confuse your mind, anger your mind. Yeah. Okay. I hope that cleared things up. Remember, it's in the Purusha Sukta. Yeah, in the Purusha Sukta, it's the about the 5th verse. It is where the illusion, the confusion is produced. And it's not a one-layer confusion. It's like Mahavishnu emanating from Krishna, and then all of a sudden you got Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Then you got Kishore Dakshai Vishnu. And they the word is he's separated. He's separated. He remains separate. So if that word, he remains separate, it's like you can't grasp that he's there because he has made himself separate, or even just saying appeared to be separate. But let's give it a dimension. He's in a different dimension, and for you to see him, you'd have to be in his dimension. To understand how his hands are working and how he's moving things, you have to be in his dimension. So imagine we got to go through the dimension of Kishore Dakshai Vishnu. Then we have to go into the dimension of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And then we have to go into the dimension of Mahavishnu. And then we have to go into the dimension of either it came from Vaikuntha or it came from Golok, or we have so many dimensional places. You would really have to go through a lot of universities to try to get to that point. But the pure devotee can just uplift you and put you in Golok. The pure devotee can put you into the atmosphere of Golok. Whereas everybody else has to pay a lot just to learn, and sometimes fail. Sometimes, I think a lot of times fail. So it behooves somebody, this takes a lot of endeavor, an incredible endeavor. And in this age, just chanting Hare Krishna is taking away all this payment to different universities, and you have to take a loan. That's how universities work. They make their money off the loans, and you're paying the loan way into your life, heavy loans, Oh, you want to go to this real university? Okay, well, you have to take out this loan. And you got to sign a contract. That's called usury. Like you're using somebody. It's called usury. And usury is even condemned in the Bible. You're even condemned in the Bible. Usury. How somebody lends somebody else some money, but not just to help him, but to dominate him. Yeah. He becomes dominated. Fire, bad health, and credit. Get rid of them as quick as you can. They take your health away. Yeah. Fire, some disease, and credit. Get rid of it. Don't look at it as something that helps. It's usury. And you will be under the usury's hand. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Now, it's not small illusion. 3 different verses, 3 different ways to look at that one verse. For them, the conclusion is the same. For us, we're sitting in one part and having to understand it in that way. Okay. Yeah. If I could say it correctly, you could even get purified. Tasmat virad ajayata virajo adi purushaha sajjato charityata paschat bhumi ato puraha. Important point. Bhumi can be round. Bhumi can be flat. It's not a limited word. Okay.